When my daughter was born, we had experienced a very normal process where everything was on time and happened like it was supposed to happen. And as she grew, we started having some issues, some problems. And while things tended to be right on schedule with communication and all the different benchmarks and things we're looking for, it changed. When I was at a committee hearing in health policy, we were talking about autism and this idea of reforming our insurance laws in order to cover therapies that help with autism. And there was this boy who was 9 or 10 years old, and he came in to testify, and he sat next to his mother and he read his testimony. And the gist of his time there, his words were what he was like before he received the type of access to treatment that people with autism need. And it became clear at that point, it really clicked, that I have a daughter with autism. There's a certain amount of embarrassment and it's not embarrassment of her, but it's this idea that we needed help. So who wants to admit that they need help raising their kids? So we get to this point, and say it's time that we do it, that we get serious about it, that we seek out professional. Of course, we're looking for the very best. And what we ran into was that there's not really help here in Michigan. So we get this appointment, but it took months. It took months to get in because the system is so overwhelmed. We have people that are wanting, even if you can, because this boils down to cost. Often the cost of these treatments are high, but even if you can afford it, it doesn't mean that it's available. We don't have people practicing to the level that we need in order to treat these kids because most people can't afford it. I have supported this autism insurance reform now for a number of years, long before I knew about my daughter. And it was because of the compelling nature of the economics behind this issue. When we make a choice in our insurance code to say that we're not going to cover autism services, not only are we choosing to condemn people, real people, to a life of dependence, but we're also obligating taxpayers to just an incredible amount of expense. The savings are quite specific and easily measurable. If you were to include autism coverage in insurance policies, it would make a difference in insurance of about 1% or less, something less than 1%. The savings to taxpayers over the life of these people would be about $14 billion. So some will say, based on the principle of not liking the idea of a new law being passed, I want to oppose this, or that they're going to oppose this. The problem is, by choosing to do that, what you're saying is to the taxpayers of this state, that we're going to impose upon you the cost of taking care of this population for the rest of their lives. I look at this opportunity that I have, that the struggles that people, parents, families, and people with autism themselves are living through every day, I'm living it too. And until we're willing to stand up and say that I'm not going to do the politically correct thing to make everybody else comfortable and stay home and shut up, I'm just not going to do it. And so I'm speaking up for my daughter, but even as a person who knows what these things are like, I'm speaking up for a whole population of people who are struggling today, mostly in silence, through the day-to-day life of a family with autism.